Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Vanessa Pini. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And if you are a regular, hey, thank you for coming back. All right, so in my previous video, I was asked to do a story time on my labor and delivery, and quite a few people commented that they would like to get a story from me about my labor, so I will do just that. I'll get into it. So I've made a few notes here because I'm still having, pregnancy brain, and sometimes I forget things. So I've made a list here so that I don't leave anything out. Okay, so I'll start with the hospital. I think it's okay if I name the hospital because it's a positive birth experience. So most of the videos I've seen, people don't name the hospitals that they've went to because of the negative stories that they have to share. But with my story, it's a positive one. So I'll just name the hospital. It's King George Hospital, which is in Sydenham in Durban. That's the hospital that works hand in hand with the clinic that I was using. So that's the hospital I went to. Okay, so the cleanliness. I'll start with the cleanliness. The cleanliness of the hospital. The hospital is very, very clean. The facilities, the bathrooms, the wards, the passages, everything is so clean. The hospital is very, very organized. From your arrival, check-in, everything they do, they take everything to detail. They make sure that they do everything. They don't rush through things. The staff, the nurses, the healthcare workers, they are so sweet and they are very helpful. They are very organized and they are very professional. There was nothing unprofessional about them. They explain everything to you. If you ask questions, you get the answers. They were just great. I had a very, very pleasant experience. So when you arrive there, you don't have a problem. Everyone knows what they're doing. They are professional. They are sweet. They are empathetic, I would like to say, because they know what we are going through. They see it every day. Okay. Secondly, what I did to prepare for my labor. So as I had spoken before, raspberry leaf tea and dates. If you go on TikTok and you search on the hashtag raspberry leaf tea, you will see some people will say they use it to induce labor. It is not for inducing labor, but it actually prevents premature laboring, and it helps your uterus and conditions the uterus to be prepared for when you have to deliver. So apart from the contractions and all of that, it'll help with the pain. TikTok say that it actually pain is less, or you don't actually feel the pain until, and then the dates also help with the cervix, ripening the cervix, allowing it to dilate quickly. Kungabi khona ama delays and you not dilating, you failing to move from 3 centimeters to 80 for a long period of hours. Okay, and I know that with a second child, your body knows what it's supposed to do. So and the labor is shorter, as they may say, but if you guys know, or if you've seen these ladies, they'll tell you they went into labor for 3 hours. They didn't feel any pain, or the pain was less than what they something they did not do with their first labor, they decided to do with their second labor. And the labor is quick, but guys, it's very, very different. So I think this played a role very, very much on my labor and delivery. Plus, I wasn't working out because here in this house that I stay in, it has 2 floors. So I was up and down the steps maybe 10 times a day, from being down here in my room, coming down to make something to eat, where I go. But I was just up and down the steps all the time. So I think that covered my workout part. I even put on my status showing people how I've been walking up and down, side walking and all of that. because I wasn't working out. So that was my form of workout. That was happening daily. So yeah. And then I was also doing some yoga stretches. I had started them at my last trimester. Yeah, that's when I had started them, just to stretch and stretch and stretch and prepare your pelvis for the passing of the baby, because you need that, and to alleviate pregnancy pains, because my pregnancy was just smooth. I didn't have much symptoms, didn't have any aches and pains, but whenever I would feel like I'm a bit tight, then I would like maybe do the stretches twice a day, but I would do them every day or every other day, depending on how I felt like on that day. Right, okay, now to the story of the evening when I went into labor. So it was a Sunday evening. I decided to go sleep over at my partner's place, and normally it had come to a time where we are not even sexually active anymore, because I would have cramps afterwards, or if I've had a long day, I've been active throughout the day, I would then have cramps. So we were just avoiding any intercourse during that time. But on that evening, we decided otherwise. But then we were just chilling for the whole evening until it was like late towards after 10 p.m. And then I started having the cramps, which are like Braxton Hicks. So I have those regularly, so they would come, and normally I would sleep them off. But on this specific night, I tried to sleep and I just couldn't sleep with them. The way they were so intense, I thought, okay, most of the time they say towards your estimated due date or towards the 40th week, your Braxton Hicks contractions become more intense. And so that's what I was experiencing. I was experiencing Braxton Hicks like I always have, but these were preventing me from falling to sleep. Like every time I would doze off, just as I'm dozing off, they would come, and then my sleep would be interrupted. So yeah, I think it started around 11 p.m. and then I tried to sleep, and then my boyfriend would wake me up and ask me if I'm okay, because I keep moving. And I was like, I'm okay, I'm just having, the cramps. But he's like, are you sure that these are the cramps you always have? Because I know you always have cramps, but today you can't even sleep through them. I was like, I don't know. It feels like what I'm usually having, just more intense. And I was also gassy. Like they would come with gas, and I was eating Samp on that day. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm just gassy, because I kept on farting a lot when I was having the Braxton Hicks contractions. If you guys know the Braxton Hicks contractions, they are like practice contractions. They're not the real thing. So I didn't want to and they were irregular, guys. These ones are irregular. Sometimes they would give me a 1 minute break, sometimes they would give me a 5-minute break. So they were irregular. So I just thought, Braxton Hicks, but maybe they are more intense because I'm coming towards my due dates. And so my boyfriend was just giving me massages on my tummy whenever they came, and we were just talking. Sometimes we talk all night. So it was just one of those nights, I guess, because I couldn't sleep. Around 3, just after 3 a.m., she was like, okay, you've been drinking water and going to the toilet 1,000 times. Do you want to maybe take a walk? And then, because I was also feeling hot and I wanted to also pass gas, like I'm telling you guys, then I went outside to walk a bit, and it was cool, and I was passing gas freely, not worried about making the house stink. I actually felt better after walking, and he was preparing food for me. So after the food was ready, we went into the house. I think it was 4 o'clock about that time, and I sat down and I ate, and I was fine. No pain, no contraction, nothing. And then while I was eating, I started feeling pain a bit, and then after that, the pain went away, like the cramp went away. And then I finished my food, decided to get into bed, and I asked him if we should turn the lights off. He said, no, yeah, turn the lights off so you can sleep, because it's almost the morning now, you know, you need some rest. Then I switched off the lights and I climbed onto bed. We laid in a spooning position because he wanted to massage my belly while if I have any cramps, you know, while we laid in the bed, so that I can actually fall asleep. Yeah, the next contraction that I had, that one was painful. It was so painful that I felt a trickle of water, and I told him, dude, I think, okay, I let out a cry, and he was like, okay, if you're feeling that much pain, just squeeze my dick so you can transfer the pain onto me. So I was like, ish. I think my water broke. He's like, really? He jumped up the bed and turned on the lights to actually see if what I'm saying, yeah, and there was water. I had wet the bed and there was traces of blood. So he asked me, is your sister awake? I was like, is your sister home? I was like, yeah, but I don't think she's awake, but my brother could be awake because he's a night owl. And I texted my brother, hey, are you awake? And yeah, he responded. And yeah, I had to rush home. Yeah, and it's we live close by together, so it was a walking distance away. And as I was walking, I was feeling intense pain. So after my water broke, that's when I started feeling intense pain, and the pain was like a minute apart. I remember looking at the time. When I got into the house, I was feeling pain. So from the road and being in the house, I was feeling pain. As I was grabbing my suitcases and my brother took them into the car, I was feeling pain. As I sat into the car waiting for him to start the car and us to move, I was feeling pain. So it was like minutes apart, so I was only getting a minute break. Luckily the hospital is like very, very close. It's less than 10 minutes drive to get there. And yeah, we probably got there at 4:30. And when I got there, the sister took me in, and you could see that from her face that, okay, maybe they've been getting a lot of people who are coming in and like saying they are feeling so much pain, only to find that they are not even that much dilated. So the way she was like, yeah, Sissy, what's wrong? You could tell me. Maybe she's thinking I'm exaggerating. And I told her my water broke just after 4 a.m. and I am feeling so much pain. I'm not even getting breaks in between. She's like, okay. She gave me something to pee on. I peed on the stick. I brought it back. She said, okay, take off your underwears. The underwears were already gone, guys. I just lifted up my dress and got into the bed. And she prepared the gel. She put gloves and she checked me. She didn't say anything. She just said, grab your stuff and follow me to the delivery room. I'm following her. I'm in pain. I'm in pain. I'm following. I'm like, where am I going to the delivery room? Because in my mind, I'm still telling myself, I'm just inside Omash. I'm gonna be walking around the ward. She's telling me I must go to the delivery room. I follow her. I pull my suitcase, get into the delivery room. She's like, yeah, take off your dress. I'm in pain. I'm having the pain, and then I'm having 1 minute break, having the pain, having 1 minute break. It even started feeling like it was a few seconds. I was not getting a minute break. And she was busy preparing. I saw her preparing where they're gonna put the baby. She's preparing. I'm like, what's going on? Am I still gonna? She's like, sit down, because I was on my feet at that time. I sit down. I'm naked. She's like, lie on the bed. I'm trying to lie on the bed. I'm just uncomfortable. She's coming with the, what is this thing? I think it's called ECG machine, with the straps to put it on me. And the way she was looking at me, she looked at me like she was just feeling so uncomfortable. She's like, you girl, you can't even tell, Guti. Like, you're fully dilated, the baby is coming. I think you must just start pushing, because I'm not going to put these belts on you now. I'm looking at her like, am I supposed to push? She's like, yeah. And I had been feeling like I'm having the urge to push now. But then I was like, hey, maybe I'm just feeling that way because, that's what I want. I wish I was about to do that. Yes, it's time. Hey, she's like, I think I just pushed 3 times. and the baby was out. I couldn't believe it. Like, so from 4 o'clock to 4:40. Yeah, that's the amount of time that I actually felt the contractions, the pain. What I was feeling before was I'm a Braxton Hicks, but with a little bit of discomfort. It wasn't pain. So yeah, and then so they cleaned me up. They took the baby, and we had some skin to skin. And then while I was having skin to skin, the nurse was like, okay, you have a little tear here next to, okay, so firstly, with my first daughter, I had a labial tear. I will insert a picture here and show you where I had the tear. So when I had that tear there, they said it's too small for them to stitch it, so they just left it like that. So I had my vagina was just looking like that since 2007 until now. So what had happened, the tear continued from that small part and it went like inward, so they had to put a few stitches there. So she explained, okay, so you have a tear where you originally had the tear from your first birth, so it just continued a bit, so we're gonna stitch it back. I'm gonna give you an injection. It's gonna, because there's not much muscle here, it's gonna be slightly numb, but you may feel as I stitch when I get to the end, because there's like no muscle here. I was like, okay. So when she started, yes, I was just looking at my baby's face, and I couldn't feel much, but I felt the last 3 stitches. As she had said, towards the end I will feel something because there's no muscle there. And then I was stitched. They stitched right back and left it like it was before. And then they cleaned me up, and then they took the baby and they put it across. And as they took the baby, she said, just tell the person who dropped you off that you've had the baby and we are gonna admit you so they can leave. I was like, no, that person is already gone. They're like, oh, okay. Mind you, it was not breakfast time. It was just towards 5. They asked me if I was hungry. I was like, yeah. And then one of the nurses brought me a peanut butter sandwich and some warm hot tea. So I had that while they were busy taking care of the baby there across. And so from there I was moved to a ward where they took care of me and the baby, did some checkups and all of that. And another thing that was great is I didn't use anything from what I packed in the hospital bag, because mind you, when I gave birth I was completely naked, and I only used my robe once I was put to the other ward, and my cosmetic bag. They provided baby nappies, they provided the pads at our disposal. They just put them there where everyone can have access to them. They tell you just grab one and you can go. There's toilet paper, there's everything there. And I had packed all those things thinking I would not be able to, because I was hearing people say they only give you one and then we are bonela. So that was not the case. If your pad gets full, you go there, you take a pad. If your baby's nappy gets spoiled, you go there and you just get a nappy for your baby. They provided formula, they provided surgical spirits, and the other ladies got discharged in the morning because they had slept there. I had just arrived, so I ended up being the only one left in the ward. But then around 11 o'clock I was discharged, and I was waiting for my mom to pick me up. They just offered to give me the spirits because I was the only one left, so it was given to me. I was like, take the whole bottle. Like as I said, the nurses were really, really sweet and helpful and thoughtful. And another amazing thing is that they have, I don't know if other government hospitals have a home affairs office, but this one in particular has a home affairs office where you take your proof of birth that you get from your labor ward, you take a copy of your ID, and you get your birth certificate done for your baby, and you leave with it the same day. So I didn't have a copy of my ID. I had left it because I left in a rush, but I had my ID with me. So one of the nurses were kind enough to tell me that, okay, it's not allowed for us to make copies for you guys, but you guys have to bring your own copies. And but I'll make one for you, but it's not allowed. So I was very appreciative of that. They made a copy for me. I got my baby's birth certificate, and I came home with the baby. And like I said, the nurses were very kind guys. I had been discharged already, right? But they were like, oh, you can leave your baby here and your luggage and quickly go there to the Home Affairs office, because it's very, very quick. Because they were the ones who advised you to go there so that you can leave with your baby certificate. So they chilled with the baby while I went to get the baby certificate. I was gone for like 40 minutes because I left there at 11, and by 11:40 I was back, and my mom arrived at 12. And I came home with my bundle of joy. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Lots of love from me.